What's up, my fellow scruffy looking nerf herders, and welcome to the Carbonite Chat. Today I'm going to be talking about one character from the solo movie QI'RA, played by Emilia Clarke. Now, there was a release of information from the Entertainment Weekly article that was put out a few days ago, and it refers to her as a particular type of character in film. I will put spoiler warnings at this point. Now, I don't have any secret information. I'm not trying to act like I got some email from someone that worked on the, movie or whatever, and that, I've got the information. It's just that they specifically name her a certain type of character, and if you know what this type of character is, which I'm going to explain in a second, there's a good chance you're probably going to know what's going to happen. So if you don't want to know, then stop watching now. If you do want to know and you understand that I don't have any secret information, this is just kind of what I would suspect from understanding what this character is and explaining this type of character in film, then continue on. And I will start now. She's referred to as the femme fatale. Now, the femme fatale is a character from film noir, which makes sense because Lawrence Kasdan has explained that this movie is kind of like a noir western of sorts. He has written noir before, a movie called Body of Heat. There's some very famous noirs going from Chinatown to Sunset Boulevard, Touch of Evil, more recently something like LA Confidential. All of these have a very similar structure, and so understanding that they all have the same structure, we can get an idea of what's going to happen in this movie. The basis is you have a male protagonist. This male protagonist gets in a situation that he has to assist or help a female character, this being the femme fatale. Now, usually he is then manipulated, or basically always, he's manipulated by the femme fatale. She seduces him, she uses him to his advantage, and basically allows her to gain power or, increase herself up. And this ultimately, through all these things happening that are outside of his own actions or capabilities, but usually from what the femme fatale is doing, it ends up leading to his downfall. Now, this would make sense with some of the comments Alden Ehrenreich ended up saying about how he starts out as an idealist, but things start happening that are somewhat out of his control and he's not prepared for, and it leads to him changing as a character, which I'm very happy to hear because I wasn't the biggest fan of him in the trailer because I don't buy him as Solo. I don't buy him as the Han Solo we see in A New Hope. And a lot of people said, yeah, but, he was younger. And I agree with that. But when you put out a Solo movie, people expect it's going to be the Solo that we know. I did say that if they ended up showing that this is how he became who he was, then I'll say, I won't hate on it, and I'll say that it was fine. So if that's the case they're doing, then that makes sense, which would be smart because you can never have an actor play Han Solo. Like Harrison Ford is playing Harrison Ford when he's doing Han Solo. No one else can do it. So this would be smart to start him out a little bit different. And then following the noir story, he ends up basically coming to a downward spiral that leads to a change in the way he goes forth living his life from that point. QI'RA being the basis of this happening, because the femme fatale ends up, they take advantage, they seduce, they use basically some of their more, they use some seduction or other things to cause the man to basically do what they want them to do and use the abilities of the man to get what they want. I think this is largely going to be Han Solo's piloting skills. Now, it says that they've known each other from before, that they grew up on the streets together, and she's made it up in what she says as a femme fatale, that when you see her in the glamorous looks and stuff, that she's not actually that type of person, but she's kind of hiding undercover to manipulate and do the things she needs to do to survive. And I think because he knows her, he's going to get in with her, but she's going to see him as a bit of an idealist, a bit of, not really prepared for this underworld type of thing. And I think the shot that we see them walking on the kind of beach planet, you see them together, and I think this is when she's going to bring him to Tobias. And Tobias and him, they're going to join together as a group. And I think she's going to have already known Lando. She's going to already known Tobias. And she's going to bring him into this. And he's going to kind of buy into and accept her and believe her. And she's going to manipulate and use him. And I think ultimately use probably Tobias as well to jump herself up. And in a noir, it ends up that the main character ends up dying or someone close to him ends up dying, just it ends in tragedy of some sort. Now Han's not going to die, and this is where I think Beckett's going to die. And I think that that's going to lead some of those things that people mentioned from the trailer where the guy goes, hey kid, where he says that with back to Luke later on. I think some of those things are going to come up, but I also think this is where we're going to find out why he stops being an idealist, why he starts only looking out for himself, and why he stops trying to worry about helping out other people but just looks out for number one, because he's going to see what she does. The femme fatale, looking out for number one, takes care of herself, and she ends up all well and good, but then he ends up hurt. So then he stays back and he changes the way he acts from that point on, which I think is fairly interesting. I do like film noir as a genre of film, and I love that we're using a very a nice set of a specific genre, and we're not just kind of winging some storyline. I like the fact that it seems like we're getting a much better structured movie than we've had more recently. I can understand some people saying that it's not Star Wars, but the Western side of it, I think, will keep the adventure part going on, and I think that the noir isn't going to be the black and white shadows of the old 30s, 40s, and 50s movies, but more the way that the characters are created, because in the underworld, the other part of film noir is you can never trust all the other characters around. If it's a police noir and you're a detective, all the other detectives are dirty. So I think in this as well that there's going to be a lot of characters that you can't trust, and he's going to, because he has so many people, that he's going to end up getting kind of turned on and treated badly, that he's not going to then want to work with anybody, and that's where we're going to see the character arc of Han Solo. I may be reading into all of this too much. I didn't give a full, huge explanation of film noir or femme fatale. Roger Ebert, to shorten it and give a little bit more explanation on femme fatale, Roger Ebert said a femme fatale, in basic description, is the type of woman that would just as easily kill you as love you, or vice versa. So it's one of those things that it's a character that takes advantage of whatever she can take advantage of to continue to gain power. She may love you, but she's going to love herself most, and if she's in a situation where something needs to happen, she's going to take care of number one. I think it's very interesting to see that in a character, and I think it can fit for the storyline. So I'm intrigued, and also it fits that Han can be played. If he's not going to be the Han that we know, and he's going to be kind of this different Han, then it makes sense that this is his learning moment. This is where he changes as a character forever. So I like that concept, and it fits with the noir, where the character of the femme fatale brings the male protagonist into a situation of moral ambiguity, and she puts him in this situation, which I think fits for this new criminal world, because we got to remember he did run scams, but then he started to try to clean up to an extent because he joined the Imperial Navy. But now he's back out, so she brings him in this, and it brings them into a consistently increasing dangerous situations. And I think that's what we're going to begin to see throughout this movie. Anyways, those are my thoughts, trying to detail some of film noir and some of femme fatale to explain what they're actually referring to in that in the article by EW, and what might be expected from the character of QI'RA, because we didn't know much. A lot of people were saying they thought she would be a rebellion character. I'm very much glad she is not. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you can take it with this information, and if this is right, I mean, I feel confident either they don't know what a femme fatale is, which is possible, or it's got to be roughly the idea. Now, I will say, in femme fatales, they can end up hurting themselves in the end. So it is possible that she doesn't just get away scot-free. There are some film noirs where they end up hurting, the female hurts themselves just as much in the end, because as she basically brings the male down into a destructive situation, she ends up getting dragged down with him in the end. Now, that happens in some, so it's still open-ended. And so I don't think that it spoils everything that's going to happen in the movie, but it can get your mind running. And for me, it makes me feel better about Alden Ehrenreich playing Han Solo. It makes me begin to accept why he's not going to be that Han Solo. Granted, if I watch the movie and they're trying to play him as the Han Solo from A New Hope, I'm going to have issues. But for now, it's making me be able to accept him. I'm not going to say I'm like overly excited or jumping for joy or whatever, and I understand for all of you that are out there that's saying I'm not going to watch any Disney Star Wars movies, that's fine. I'm going to go and at least watch it once because I'm doing this channel. So I've got to work out with myself how I go into that movie. And right now I see some possibilities that this could be done well. Lawrence Kasdan being the writer is a really good thing in my mind. I will detail the rest of the EW article tomorrow. There's a lot of stuff in there, and I just want to focus on the one character and this one concept or part of the story, the noir and the femme fatale, and I didn't want to get too convoluted with adding 20 different things. I would much rather hear a lot of your thoughts and comments on exactly what you think about her being a femme fatale and what it can mean for Han Solo on screen. And so I stuck with that right there, and I will end this video right there. I'll post some videos linked right here. I'll have a link to my TeePublic page down below, and of course down below, please comment, give me your thoughts. I look forward to talking to all of you down there, and of course thank you for watching, and never forget, you Nerf herders, I love you.